The most valuable work you can do is the work your brain is designed to avoid. This is not a metaphor. It is a neurological fact. Your brain evolved for survival, not for building intellectual leverage. It evolved to conserve energy, not to spend it on sustained cognitive construction. Deep work, the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks, is not a natural state. It is an override. And here is the paradox. Intelligent people understand the value of deep work. They know focus creates leverage. They know distraction destroys it, yet they cannot sustain it. This is not a discipline problem. This is not a character flaw. This is a neurological design problem that most people never examine. High performers do not have stronger willpower. They have reconditioned reward systems. This video is not about motivation. It is about the dopamine architecture that governs whether hard thinking feels effortless or impossible, and how to rewire it. The performance gap. Knowledge workers spend 8 to 10 hours working. Most produce 2 hours of real output. This is not laziness. This is the result of a neurological mismatch between the work environment and the brain's reward prediction system. The majority of professional work time is spent in a state of continuous partial attention. Emails, Slack messages, meetings, task switching. The brain interprets this as productivity because it feels busy. But activity is not output. Deep work creates intellectual assets, systems, frameworks, code, strategy, analysis. These are the things that compound into income leverage. Shallow work creates activity, responses, updates, coordination. These are necessary, but they do not build anything that lasts. Only one of these creates wealth. Only one generates income independent of time input. Yet most professionals spend their entire careers trading time for money because they never build cognitive assets. The neurological conflict. Your brain is not designed for deep work. It is designed for rapid environmental scanning and immediate threat response. Sustained focus on a single abstract problem is metabolically expensive. It requires continuous activation of the prefrontal cortex, which consumes glucose and oxygen disproportionately. Shallow work, checking email, scrolling, switching tasks, is metabolically cheap. It provides immediate dopamine hits with minimal cognitive load. Your brain is an energy-conserving machine. It will always default to the path of least neurological resistance. This is why deep work feels uncomfortable. Not because you lack discipline, but because your brain is signaling, "This is expensive, stop." Most people obey this signal. High performers recognize it as the threshold, financial consequence. Here is the connection most people miss. Your ability to focus determines your income ceiling. If you cannot think deeply for sustained periods, you cannot build intellectual leverage. You remain dependent on trading hours for dollars. Deep work allows you to compress years of learning into months. It allows you to build systems that generate value while you sleep. It allows you to think strategically instead of reactively. Shallow work keeps you employed. Deep work makes you irreplaceable. The question is not whether you value focus. The question is whether your brain's reward system is structured to make focus inevitable. Most professionals spend their lives fighting their own neurology. High performers recondition it. What if the reason you cannot focus for 4 hours is not a character flaw, but a reward system you have accidentally trained? Section A. Dopamine architecture. Dopamine is not a pleasure chemical. This is the most common misunderstanding in popular psychology. Dopamine is a prediction and motivation signal. It is released in anticipation of reward, not during the reward itself. Your brain uses dopamine to answer a simple question. Should I continue this behavior or switch to something else? When dopamine is high, you feel motivated to continue. When it drops, you feel compelled to seek something new. Modern work environments have hijacked this system. Email notifications are unpredictable reward schedules. You do not know when the next message will arrive. You do not know if it will be important or trivial. This unpredictability is the strongest dopamine trigger known to neuroscience. It is the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Deep work, by contrast, offers delayed and uncertain rewards. You do not know if the next hour of focused thinking will produce a breakthrough. The dopamine signal is weak. Your brain compares these two options and chooses the path of least resistance. Distraction. Every time you check your phone during deep work, you are training your brain. Relief is one click away. Every time you switch tasks when focus becomes uncomfortable, you are reinforcing hard thinking should be avoided. You are not fighting a lack of discipline. You are fighting a trained neural pathway. Section B. The resistance mechanism. When you attempt deep work, you will feel discomfort. This is not psychological. This is neurological. Sustained cognitive load increases activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, the part of your brain responsible for conflict detection. It is the same region that activates when you experience physical pain. Your brain interprets sustained focus as a form of metabolic threat. It generates discomfort signals to encourage you to stop and conserve energy. This is not weakness. This is evolutionary design. For most of human history, conserving energy was survival. Spending resources on abstract thought without immediate payoff was dangerous. Your brain still operates on this principle. When you feel the urge to stop during deep work, you are not experiencing failure. You are experiencing your brain doing what it was designed to do. High performers do not eliminate this signal. They expect it. They override it systematically. The discomfort you feel at the 30-minute mark of deep work is the threshold. It is the point where most people give up. It is also the point where neuroplasticity begins. Section C. Neuroplasticity leverage. Neural pathways strengthen with repeated activation. This is neuroplasticity. Every time you override the resistance signal and continue deep work, you are physically changing your brain. You are weakening the distraction pathway. You are strengthening the focus pathway. You are recalibrating your dopamine prediction model. Over time, your brain begins to predict. Reward comes after sustained focus, not during distraction. This is not motivational theory. This is neuroscience. The first 7 days of reconditioning will feel neurologically punishing. Your brain will generate every possible signal to make you stop. Boredom, anxiety, restlessness, physical discomfort. This is not failure. This is the mechanism. High performers do not have better discipline. They have retrained their dopamine systems to associate deep work with reward delivery. You cannot eliminate the discomfort of deep work. You can only make it the new baseline, and that begins with environmental restructuring. Framework: the dopamine reconditioning system for deep work. This is not a productivity hack. This is a neurological reconditioning protocol. It is designed to make deep work the path of least resistance. Step 1. Environmental restructuring. The first principle: remove all competing dopamine sources during deep work blocks. Your brain will take the path of least resistance. If your phone is within reach, you will reach for it. Not face down, not on silent, physically inaccessible. Every available distraction is a dopamine escape route. Your brain will find it. Install browser extensions that block all non-work sites during deep work sessions. Freedom, cold turkey, stay focused. Make it impossible to access distraction without deliberate effort. Single application open, no tab switching, no email, no Slack. The goal is not willpower. The goal is environmental design that makes focus inevitable. Financial translation. Each distraction you eliminate reduces cognitive switching cost. Reduced switching cost increases output per hour. Higher output creates income leverage. This is not about discipline. This is about architecture. Step 2. Dopamine delay protocol. The second principle, intentionally delay all dopamine-rich activities until after deep work. No phone check until the deep work block is complete. No email, no coffee, no stimulation. Your brain is learning to predict reward. If you give it dopamine during the discomfort phase, you reinforce. Relief comes from distraction. If you delay dopamine until after completion, you train. Reward comes from finishing. This will feel neurologically punishing for the first 7 to 10 days. You will experience strong urges to check your phone, to open email, to seek relief. This is reconditioning, not failure. The discomfort is the mechanism. It is the signal that neuroplasticity is occurring. After 10 days, the dopamine prediction model begins to shift. Your brain starts to anticipate reward at completion, not during distraction. Deep work becomes motivationally self-sustaining. Step 3. Cognitive load calibration. The third principle, start below capacity and scale gradually. Deep work is a skill. It has progressive overload requirements. Week 1, 45-minute deep work blocks. Week 2 and 3, 90-minute blocks. Week 4 and beyond, 2 to 3 hour blocks. Attempting 4-hour sessions immediately will result in neurological failure. You will quit. You will reinforce. I cannot focus. Starting below your threshold creates success. Success triggers dopamine at completion. Dopamine reinforces the behavior. This is how the reconditioning loop begins. Income application. 90 minutes of deep work produces more intellectual assets than 8 hours of shallow work. Intellectual assets are systems, frameworks, content, code, strategy. These generate income independent of time input. Shallow work generates activity. Deep work generates leverage. Step 4. Completion, dopamine anchoring. The fourth principle, consciously reward your brain for completing deep work. After your deep work block ends, engage in an intentional dopamine activity. Coffee, a walk, music, social interaction. Make the reward predictable and immediate. Do not reward yourself for trying, only for completing the threshold. This teaches your brain. Deep work completion equals guaranteed reward. Over time, the anticipation of this reward begins to trigger dopamine during the setup phase of deep work. Your brain starts to associate the environment with reward delivery. The desk becomes a dopamine cue. Deep work becomes self-reinforcing. This is not motivational psychology. This is operant conditioning applied to cognitive performance. Step 5. Metabolic support. The fifth principle, deep work is metabolically expensive. Support the system. Glucose stability matters. Avoid sugar spikes before deep work. They cause crashes mid-session. Dehydration reduces cognitive endurance by 15 to 20%. Drink water before and during deep work. Oxygen matters. Proper breathing, nasal, diaphragmatic, increases prefrontal oxygenation. Better fuel equals longer cognitive endurance. Longer endurance equals more output per session. More output equals faster skill and income compounding. This is not biohacking. This is basic systems maintenance. Step 6. Identity reinforcement. The sixth principle, your brain acts in accordance with identity, not goals. After each deep work session, explicitly label it. Say it aloud or write it down. I am someone who does deep work. Track deep work hours, not tasks completed. Measure cognitive endurance improvement over time. This is not affirmation. This is identity architecture. I am a deep worker generates different decisions than I should focus more. Identity change is more powerful than behavior change. Over 90 days, this becomes self-reinforcing. You begin to make decisions that protect your deep work capacity because it is part of who you are. Not what you do, who you are. This is the final lock in the reconditioning system. Application 1. Knowledge, work, and income. Deep work is how you build intellectual leverage. Most professionals trade time for money. They work 40, 50, 60 hours per week, and their income is capped by the number of hours they can sell. Deep work allows you to build systems that generate value independent of your time. A framework, a process, a piece of analysis, a software tool, a strategic insight. These are income-generating assets. They compound. 1 hour of deep work today can generate income for years. 1 hour of shallow work generates income for 1 hour. The professionals who earn disproportionately high incomes are not working more hours. They are building intellectual assets during deep work blocks. This is not speculation. This is the structure of high-income knowledge work. Application 2. Decision. Quality surface-level thinking produces surface-level decisions. When you cannot sustain focus, you cannot think 2 or 3 moves ahead. You react instead of strategize. Deep work allows you to analyze second-order consequences, to run scenarios, to identify risks that shallow thinking misses. Better decisions mean fewer costly mistakes. Fewer mistakes mean higher net outcomes. Most professionals make decisions based on incomplete analysis because they cannot sustain the cognitive load required for complete analysis. This is not intelligence. This is endurance. Deep work gives you decision-making leverage. You see what others miss. Application 3. Cognitive competitive advantage. Most professionals cannot focus for 2 hours. This is not an exaggeration. It is a statistical reality. If you can sustain 3 to 4 hours of deep work daily, you are in the top 5% of cognitive performers. This is not talent. This is reconditioning. The competitive advantage is not what you produce in one session. It is the cumulative effect over years. Deep work compounds. Shallow work does not. 10 years of deep work creates a cognitive moat. You develop pattern recognition, strategic frameworks, and intellectual assets that cannot be replicated quickly. This is how you become irreplaceable. Your brain will resist deep work. This is not a bug. This is biology. The resistance you feel is not a signal that you are failing. It is a signal that you are approaching the threshold where neuroplasticity occurs. High performers do not eliminate this resistance. They expect it. They anticipate it. They override it systematically. The dopamine system that makes you check your phone every 3 minutes can be reconditioned to make you crave completion. This is not motivation. This is neuroplasticity. The framework presented in this video is not theoretical. It is a reconditioning protocol based on how the brain learns, predicts, and reinforces behavior. Environmental restructuring, dopamine delay, cognitive load calibration, completion anchoring, metabolic support, identity reinforcement. These are not productivity tips. These are neurological interventions. You do not need more willpower. You need better architecture. Most people spend their entire careers fighting their own neurology. They try to force focus through discipline. They fail. They conclude they are not capable of deep work. This is incorrect. You are capable. Your reward system is miscalibrated. Recalibration takes time, 7 days minimum. 30 days for noticeable change, 90 days for structural reconditioning. This is not fast. It is not supposed to be fast. Neuroplasticity is a gradual process. You are rebuilding neural infrastructure. The discomfort you feel during the first 2 weeks is not punishment. It is evidence that the system is changing. If deep work felt easy immediately, no reconditioning would be occurring. Clarity is not about thinking more. It is about structuring your environment, your reward system, and your identity so that hard thinking becomes inevitable. Deep work is not a choice you make once. It is a system you build until it becomes the path of least resistance. The brain resists what is expensive. Make deep work expensive once during reconditioning, then make it automatic. High performers do not fight their neurology every day. They fought it once, systematically, for 90 days. Now deep work is what they do, not because they are disciplined, because they are reconditioned. The most valuable work you can do is the work your brain is designed to avoid, until it is not. If this analysis clarified your thinking, consider subscribing. We publish 1 video per week, each designed to examine how intelligent professionals think, focus, and make decisions at a high level. Your subscription helps us continue producing long-form intellectual content in an environment that rewards distraction. Thank you for your focus.